I was working on my nephew's deck, and he was having a hard time because A actually was limited to one. Recently, in the most recent ban list, he plays ABC. He loves that deck, but A just recently got hit, which lowered the consistency of his deck, which is kind of annoying. Everyone thought, throw the deck in the trash. It's not good anymore. And I was thinking, well, wait a minute. If you can pull B straight out of the deck, can't you search for A automatically? And the answer is yes. So what I ended up doing is I ended up doing a combo that abuses these two cards to get A out of the deck, and that would be Supreme King, Dragon Darkworm, and Destrudo. The good thing about these two is these can instantly get you into a rank 7, which gets you the Tomahawk, which gets you machine tokens, which gets you the Summon Sorceress, which gets you to where you need to go. I built them a pretty cool board with just 2 cards. You need 3, so what I'll do is I'll show you pretty much how that combo works. Alright, so the way the combo works is you have the Supreme King, Dragon Darkworm, and the Destrudo in your hand. You also need 1 card to be able to discard something. This card doesn't matter what it is. I'll just put a Twin Twister. So what we'll start is we'll summon the Supreme King. The Supreme King will get us a search, and so that'll get us the Gate 0. That'll add it to our hand. Then what we'll do is we will play the Gate 0 because we'll forget to play it. We'll pay half our life points to summon the Destrudo. Now we'll be able to synchro summon with these two. I'll just put these back in the deck because one goes to the Pendulum Zone, one goes to the bottom of the deck. So I'll just get rid of them so we don't mess with the graveyard. And that summons the Odd Eyes Meteor Burst. The Odd Eyes Meteor Burst can summon whatever in the Pendulum Zone. So we'll summon the Supreme King, and then we'll overlay both of them into the Galaxy Tomahawk. Sorry about that. Now we'll detach 2 for the Galaxy Tomahawk, and we'll summon our token. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we're missing 1, 5. So this is where the fun begins. You get rid of these 2 cards. I'll just put the token in the graveyard. It doesn't matter. And we'll summon the land for Linkus. Now what we'll do is we'll get a token, and we'll link it up to Link Spider. We have 2 Cyverse monsters, so we'll get rid of both of them, and we'll summon the Summon Sorceress, just like that. Now what we do is we'll activate the Summon Sorceress, targeting one of the tokens. It's a machine, so that lets you summon the B straight out of the deck, just like that. Now what you can do, now you start going into your Link shenanigans. You'll use your B to start searching out the rest of your pieces. This is the board I like ending up with, so what I do is I just link both the B and a token, and I'll summon the Nightmare Phoenix here on the left, pointing towards where the Firewall Dragon's going to go. This obviously is going to be a Firewall Dragon dot combo. So now I get rid of the Summon Sorceress and the token, and then what we'll do is we will... Oh, well, you know what? Before we do that, I totally forgot to search for my B. And with B, I'll get the C straight to my hand. Not the A, the C. And you'll see why here in a little bit. So we'll start again. The Summon Sorceress will go into a Firewall Dragon. And now what we'll do is we'll, link around the Firewall Dragon, as I like to call, 2 to 1 to 2. So we'll do that whole thing. Send the Phoenix to the graveyard. Summon the Mermaid. So Chain Link 1 is going to be the Mermaid. Discard your Twin Twisters or whatever card you have. Chain Link 2 is going to be the Firewall summoning this. So this Firewall summons this, and then the Mermaid will summon the Ibly, which goes right here. Or right here. Really, it doesn't matter because you have this to be able to link off of. And so now what you do is you're going to get rid of the Ibly and the token. And you are going to go into a Nightmare Cerberus. Just like that. Now that your Firewall is being pointed by 2, you're going to add 2 cards back to your hand. You're going to add a Bee-Buster Drake, and you're going to add any other monster in your graveyard. I'll just add the Ibly, just for, just to be able to. And now what we'll do is we are going to link off the Sea Wyvern and the Nightmare Mermaid. We're going to link both of those off, and we're going to put Reproducus over here on this side. That's going to trigger 2 things. That's going to trigger the Chain Link 1 to be your Firewall Dragon. That'll summon your Ibly. And Chain Link 2 will be the C. That'll summon your B. Now you want to summon B right here, right below the Reproducus. And then the Ibli could just go right here, right? So now you activate Reproducus, you target B, and that'll turn it into an Earth. You change its attribute, not its type. So now you have an Earth Dinosaur, Earth Machine, and Earth Fiend. You'll be able to get rid of all three, and that'll get us into Curious. Curious goes up here at the top. Curious is going to let you mill something, and then B is going to let you search for another piece. So we'll do Curious Chainlink 1, B Chainlink 2. We'll resolve B getting A, and then we'll resolve Curious sending any floodgate you want to your graveyard. If you're playing against Sky Strike or anything like that, you do that. I'm just going to send a Pointer of the Red Lotus because it's a good generic card that you can just, out your opponent's board. So that's what's going to end up happening. We sent the Pointer of the Red Lotus. You'll be able to mill some more with Curious, so if you want to mill more cards, you can. But once we did that, we will get Curious and Ibli. Get rid of both of them, and we'll summon into Nightmare Griffin. Now, what I'll do, whenever you discarded your Twin Twisters, you would have drawn a card. I'm not even going to draw that card. You'll just know that you would have drawn that card. In fact, you know what? I'll just put the Twin Twisters back in my hand, just because. Because, I mean, there's no point in me drawing discarding. I don't want to add any variables. So what we'll do is we'll link the Curious and the Nightmare Ibli into Griffin. You can discard the A Assault Core with Griffin. That'll get you another card, so we'll go up to 2 cards. We'll just have the token represent another card. And that'll let you set the card you just sent to the graveyard, which is the Pointer of the Red Lotus, and set it directly to your field. Now you're able to banish A, you're able to banish B, and you're able to banish C. And when you banish all 3, you're able to summon the ABC Dragon Buster right up here, so your opponent doesn't get an easy out. So now what you ended up with 2 cards in your hand, the original one you discarded and the one you drew additionally on top of the other 2 cards you would have had in your hand. So you have 4 cards in your hand. You have your ABC Dragon Buster to banish stuff your opponent tries to do. You have your Griffin that is basically becoming a skill drink for all your opponent's special summon monsters. And then you have any floodgate you want from your deck or anything that'll disrupt your opponent. This is wonderful because you can just flip it, look at your opponent's hand. It doesn't matter what you have in your hand. All your main pieces are on the field. And then from there, you could just, rip your opponent's hand apart, banish it. And then if your opponent has to link summon first before he's going to activate anything that's special summoned, which is huge. That'll make it so that they have to do so much just to be able to play. So they have to link summon, then they can special summon something to where it points, but by that time the Dragon Buster could just banish it. But that's what I wanted to show you. The package isn't too big. I'll show you kind of how big it is here in a little bit. So as long as the package, the way it looks, it's not really that big. What you do is you do 3 Dark Worm and the Gate 0 to search, 3 Destrudo, because this is what you want to do, this and this. If you see that in any other card, you pretty much have the combo. 3 Green, 3 Ravine. So if you draw Ravine in either piece, you can search for the other one. That continues your combo. As well, you do double Terraforming. If you want them in the graveyard, you can also do Foolish and Dragon Shrine. I run one of each. You can run 2 Dragon Shrine, 3 Dragon Shrine is up to you. And then your copy of your Floodgate. So whatever Floodgate it is, Imperial Order, Goes in Match. Goes in Match actually works because all the monsters you end up with are ABC Dragon Buster, Firewall Dragon, and Nightmare Griffin. They're all light. So you're able to do that as well, which is cool. I like using this just as a generic one. Now this one is dangerous because you're paying so many life points. You already paid half, then you're paying another 2,000, so you're down to 2,000 life points. But you make it so that your opponent can't really do much. They're kind of limited to what they can do, and then they have to stare down 3 guys. If they don't do anything during their turn, you'll have 2 banishes, one during theirs, one during yours. You'll have a Floodgate, and then if they can't set up any type of offensive, you could just go in for game, which is pretty cool. But that's what it looks like. The extra deck is very simple. That's everything else you can add. That makes it so you can add like a bunch of hand traps. You can obviously add the the Union Hanger A, B, and C. I've been tinkering of just playing one piece each, just because the sorcerers basically starts the snowball going. You can run multiple Call by the Grave. You can run Ash. You can run Ghost Ogre, that kind of thing. So you can kind of just fill out your deck to stop your opponent so that you can go off on your deck. And then obviously you can start playing with the anti-hand trap cards like the Called by the Grave. But as far as the extra deck goes, I mean, basic nightmare stuff, one of each. Where is he? Griffin. The four main nightmares that you usually make. Obviously Firewall and Summon Sorcerers. Anytime there's anything that's broken, those are usually in the mix. You're curious to send whatever card you're going to set. So any trap, your Reproducus, so that you can bypass that option, so you can summon Curious. Lamphalinkus and Link Spider as Summon Sorceress materials. The Tomahawk to summon all the tokens. The Meteor Burst to get you to the Tomahawk. And then any number of ABC Dragon Busters you want. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It is extra deck heavy, but a lot of these cards also have multiple uses that you can do. Obviously, Lamphalinkus, you can change it to something else if you want. You could change it to really anything that's Cyvers. As long as it's Cyvers, you might be able to still go off. But Lamphalinkus, for these purposes, I mean, I guess you could run like a second Reproducus, but for the purposes that I have here, that looks like it's the best way to go. And Reproducus is a hard once per turn, so Lamphalinkus is probably the best bet. But if you guys have any questions, I'm thinking about making a video for this. I mean, I think the main stuff for the video I've already went over. If you guys want me to make a deck profile for it, it's not supposed to be something super competitive. I try to go to see how often I can pull it off, what's the percentage that I can do, and then when you run 10 to 15 cards in your deck that you just need to draw 2 copies of either of them, your percentage of being able to open with that is pretty high. And you only require 2 cards. The third one would just be as discard fodder for the nightmares. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Thanks again.